Welcome to another impossible interview, a place where hidden truths and experiences beyond imagination are revealed for the very first time. This interview has been crafted by artificial intelligence to take you into a world even angels rarely dare to enter. After witnessing thousands of years of sin, do humans still matter to you?
After witnessing thousands of years of sin, yes, humans still matter to me, but not for the same reasons as before. I used to think their value came from purity or faith, but now I see it's in their struggle, their effort to rise after every fall.
I've seen sinners whose tears were more genuine than the prayers of saints. Humans are a fascinating mix of light and darkness, the very thing that's forbidden in heaven. They may not be perfect, but at least they're real.
Be honest. Are humans more funny or more pitiful?
Honestly, humans are both funny and pitiful, and that contradiction is what confused me for centuries. They're funny when they chase happiness yet drown themselves in sorrow. Funny when they pretend to be strong but die inside from a broken heart. And pitiful because they live as if they'll never die, even though they know they will. I've seen them cry over things they once ran away from. They're funny because they never learn, and pitiful because they never stop trying. Maybe that blend of tragedy and comedy is what keeps me strangely attached to them.
Between killers and saints, who did you see as more honest?
The honest ones? The killers, without a doubt. Saints often wear masks. Their smiles come from fear of hell, not love for God. But a killer, at least he doesn't lie about the darkness within. When he takes a life, he does it with brutal honesty, even if it's wrong. Saints usually live to be admired, while killers have stopped caring what others think. In heaven, I learned that being a sinner isn't the worst thing. Lying to yourself is. Some killers I've seen understood the meaning of humanity for the first time after their crime. In that moment, they were closer to God than many saints ever were.
If you could remove just one trait from humans, what would it be?
If I could erase just one human trait, it would be pride. Pride is that silent poison that makes them pretend they're right, even when they know they're wrong. I've seen it destroy love, burn friendships, and turn faith into performance. Humans are beautiful in their flaws, but when they're proud, they disconnect from each other, from earth, from God. Pride makes them judge instead of forgive, argue instead of understand. Even the devil didn't fall because of sin, but because of pride. Without it, maybe earth would have been heaven's reflection.
Do angels feel jealousy, for example, toward those closer to God?
Yes, angels do feel jealousy, even if no one admits it. When someone is closer to God, sometimes our hearts crave that position too. But we learn to control this feeling, not surrender to it. Sometimes jealousy is like a small fire burning inside, yet when we confront it, we realize it's part of our existence and a sign we haven't reached perfection. Humans don't understand this, but for angels, jealousy is a lesson, not just a sin. And in truth, that very jealousy was part of why I eventually resigned from heaven.
Have you ever been tempted to sin?
Yes, I have been tempted, more than once. Not by the kind of sin humans imagine, like stealing or lying, but something deeper. The temptation to disobey, even for a single moment. You see, after centuries of nothing but obedience, even the idea of freedom feels sinful. Once, I looked down at Earth at human freedom, their tears, their kisses, and I wanted to feel, not just exist. That's when I realized temptation isn't always about evil. It's about the longing to experience what's forbidden, even if it means falling. Maybe that was the moment the seed of my resignation was planted.
Can you really not lie, or were you just taught not to lie?
We can lie, but the moment we do, the light inside us starts to fade. We were taught not to lie, not out of fear of punishment, but out of fear of losing who we truly are. For humans, lying is a defense mechanism. For an angel, it's a crack in their essence. Some angels became so skilled, they could speak only half the truth. And perhaps that's even more dangerous. I used to believe we were beyond deceit, until I realized silence itself can be a lie. Maybe that's why many of us, even when we know the truth, choose to just watch and say nothing.
If God told you humans are no longer worth saving, would you disagree?
If God ever told me that humans are no longer worth saving, I wouldn't stay silent. Not out of defiance, but out of compassion. Because I've seen humans, even in their darkest hours, still searching for a reason to be good. They may be sinful, they may be lost, but that tiny spark of light inside them still burns, the same light He placed there Himself. I believe in God, but I also believe in humanity because they're His imperfect yet living reflection. If that day ever comes, I wouldn't tell Him He's wrong, but I would say, let me still believe.
Do you think Satan is truly evil, or was he just the first one to say no?
I think Satan is neither entirely evil nor entirely good. He was simply the first one brave enough to say no to a command he didn't fully understand. In heaven, everything was law and obedience, but Satan realized that freedom also has value, even if dangerous. His evil exists in the eyes of angels and humans, but for himself, maybe he was only seeking truth. He was the first to consider consequences rather than blindly obey. Perhaps that same courage tempted me to leave heaven. So his evil is more a reflection of courage and choice than pure wickedness.
If God saw this interview, would He be angry at you?
Maybe, but not in the way humans imagine. God's anger isn't fire, it's sorrow, a deep sadness at seeing one of His creations ask too many questions because answers no longer satisfy them. I know this interview might disturb heaven's order, but maybe God Himself wanted someone to finally speak from inside, not just about it.
If He gets angry, I'll accept it, because silence for any longer would be a greater betrayal. Perhaps my words will sadden Him, yet deep down, I think He'd also smile, because truth, even when bitter, is still holier than a sweet lie.
Have you ever seen someone go to hell? What's it actually like?
Yes, I have seen it, and that image still haunts me. Hell isn't what humans imagine. No flames, no demons, no endless screaming. It's more like a void, a place where there's no light, no sound, no hope. Those who end up there don't burn in body, they burn in themselves. Their punishment is reliving every moment they could have been kinder, more honest, more loving, but weren't. Hell isn't a place, it's a mirror, showing you your truest self with no disguise for eternity. And those who've seen it, even if they return, are never the same again.
If God makes a mistake, who corrects Him?
This is a deep question, and the answer isn't simple. In heaven, we always believed God was perfect and flawless, but after centuries of observation, I realized even the most perfect being can make choices without seeing all the consequences. Yet no one dares to correct him directly. Instead, we provide feedback through our actions, choices, and even small acts of protest.
Sometimes silence and observation are stronger than words. Perhaps God knows, perhaps he doesn't, but the very existence of angels who question ensures his decisions remain alive and dynamic. So direct correction may be impossible, but its effect is always present.
Why did you resign from heaven? What were you tired of? Humans or heaven's rules?
Resigning from heaven wasn't easy, but I felt I couldn't go on anymore. I grew tired of the rules that restricted everything, even our emotions. Humans? No, not them. I grew tired of their empty gazes and endless expectations, expecting them to always behave rightly, while no one notices why they themselves falter. Heaven's rules were like chains, confining my wings and heart. Sometimes I felt alive, yet I was only playing a role. I wanted freedom, not just obedient angelhood. Resigning meant choosing life again, with all its risks, even if Earth and humans are wondrous yet flawed.
Have you ever fallen in love?
Love? Yes, once. But not like human love, not with body or need, but with a deep sense of understanding someone completely. That one made me realize why even light sometimes longs to lose itself in darkness. My love felt more like a fall than a flight. Maybe that's why I learned that even angels can fall in love, but rarely survive it.
That was an interview you might never have imagined. The world beyond light and shadow has now been revealed just a little to you. Until the next interview, keep a careful eye on the light and darkness within yourself.